remember now. You asked me to read this diary. I didn't want to. Your father told me not to do it. Time to go to sleep. Ah, there you are, my dear. Back from the ball at last. Oh, and it looks like the wind did some damage to your curls. Sit. It's past midnight and time for our bedtime ritual. Hand me your gloves and I'll straighten them out. There we are. I'll just put them down here beside you, and then I'll start on your hair. Between the storm and the dancing, your hair has come a bit undone. I'll just go ahead and brush it out. Let me start by taking off your tiara. I'm sorry. By removing that from your hair, I made an even bigger mess. Now let me go ahead and unfasten your mask. Was the masquerade ball fun? You're still curious about that, are you? About the girl from Galway? Yes, that's correct. I said she was from Galway. I know you're curious as to how she ended up here at Castle Redrick. Well, I'm coming to that. But let me first start by removing some of these hairpins. I'm sorry you have a headache. How about if I massage your neck just a little bit? Of course, my sweet. I'll tell you how she came to live here in Cork. I'm coming to that point shortly. Let me just take out a few more of these pins. Listen to all that rain on the roof. It's so soothing. I'm only going to read the diary, small bits at a time. I don't want to upset you too much before you go to sleep. I'll just review it a little bit as I unbraid your hair. So we were reading about a young woman, or a girl basically. As you may remember, the diary was written by a young woman named Viola Murray. And she was recalling her strange childhood, which was full of much love and laughter, until her mother and her aunts were banished from the estate by her very own father. And she was left behind to be raised by her stern governess. Her father seemed like an odd sort, and he had a penchant to travel all the time. Okay, and let me grab the brush and we'll smooth away today's troubles. You may recall that the young girl was very curious as she was pestering her governess as to how she had lost an eye. Apparently her governess was not fond of such impertinent questions, and we also learned that sometimes when nobody else was at home, Tilda would talk to her about demons. Yes, I'll continue with what was written in the diary. I memorized it, you know. I knew you would want to know more. That's the way I felt when I read it. But I have to tell you, my dear, it gets very, very dark. Right then, where were we? Oh yes, I remember now. Viola wrote. What happened to the other one? I asked one day, staring at the patch she wore like a pirate. This led to severe raps on my knuckle with a hard wooden rod. I never asked again. Tilda was severe of face and character, and she would make me stand on a stool and conjugate every Latin verb until I was blue in the face. But when nobody else was around and the house stood empty, Tilda would tell me about demons. They crawl out from the bowels of the earth. Some are human, some are not, she said one day. Have you ever seen one? I did, she responded. He was alabaster white and wore no clothes. He made the milk sour in every cow, and he walked the earth and devoured everything in his sight. Did he devour you? I asked cheekily. No, but you just said he devoured everything in his sight. He did not see me, Tilda said. How is that possible, really? I asked. If you saw him, how could he not see you? Let us try conjugating the verb to watch in Latin, Tilda responded. This is how conversations with Tilda always went. But I was not one to give up easily. Where do you suppose he went? I asked. Who? She responded. The demon who devoured everything. Tilda thought long and hard about this as we sat in the library, surrounded by first editions of hundreds of books. I was lying on the Turkish carpet, the one my parents had brought back from Constantinople after their honeymoon. Tilda was sitting in a chair whose blue upholstery exactly matched the paint on the walls. Tilda's one good eye was roving the shelves. She was remarkably well preserved for someone who had been governess to my grandfather, and then my father and his brother before me. In fact, although she looked severe, she also looked like she couldn't be a day over 70. I wondered how this was possible. The demon went into the soul of a man, Tilda said softly, a gray tendril, gray as the morning fog, escaping her tight pun. Which man? I asked, trying not to sound impertinent. Although, to be truthful, I was as impertinent as the day was long. You see, at the ripe old age of 15, I was quite sure I knew everything about the world. And what I knew was this: there are no such things as demons. I would press Tilda until she confessed her foolishness. Imagine my surprise when Tilda did not confess any such thing, but instead said to me, "Your uncle. He went into the soul of your uncle." Now see, I told you that would be upsetting. Let me spritz you with some lavender. Lavender is so calming, so good for you. Remember now, you asked me to read this diary. I didn't want to. Your father told me not to do it. I'll just spritz you a little bit more and then it's time to go to bed, okay? That's it, dear. I'm just gonna go ahead and whisper in your ear. Let's have you crawl into bed. Your nightgown is waiting. I've already sprayed your sheets with some lavender oil. Doesn't it smell nice? Dreamy. It's time to go to sleep.